You're listening to When Isabel Met Aviva, a podcast about rom-coms, female-driven screenwriting, and how to break into the entertainment industry. I'm Aviva.
And I'm Isabel.
And thanks for tuning in, everyone. Today, we are just going to have a chatty episode, and guest episodes are coming up, but we're just going to catch up with each other while we film, basically.
Yeah.
And talk about screenwriting and career stuff and maybe Oscar nominations and things like that.
Oh, yeah, we should discuss Oscar nominations.
Yeah. So should we just start with like what has been going on writing wise lately? Let's just do a check-in.
When was the last time we talked? Was it at the end of December, like before we did our interview with Alana, right?
I
That was
think
kind of our
so.
goal setting for the year.
Yeah, goal setting. And last time I think you checked in with me, you said, we have to talk in very vague terms, but you said that your script that you've been developing was in cool hands.
Yeah.
That's all we were allowed to share, but it was exciting.
Yeah.
So yeah, what's been going on with that and just your writing in general?
I don't have any updates about that. I don't know anything that's going on right now. But the producers I was working with did ask me to like send them more scripts. Like they wanted to read more of what I had. And so I kind of went into panic mode of like, oh my gosh, I don't have anything. Like I don't have anything else. So I've really just been writing. Like I write nonstop right now. I'm actually today ideally finishing my Indian rom-com. I think I've mentioned a couple times on the podcast before when I had like first started it. And I'm really, really excited about it. I think I didn't, when I started this year and like in December, I was working on 2 scripts. So I was writing the Indian rom-com and then I have a time loop comedy. That's kind of like an R-rated family comedy movie. But I was trying to write both of them at once. And then I realized that that's too difficult for me to do, especially because I've also realized I'm very much a method writer. I'm kind of curious if you are one too, because I think I didn't realize like exactly what like method acting is, but I do think there is a similar thing for writing. But for me,
what does that mean from a writing perspective?
I think it just means that like I really go like into the world, like into the character. Like I very much feel like when I wrote the Zac Efron movie, I feel like I became Zac Efron. And
you dive deep.
I very much like I feel like it's like the way I think, the way I thought, the way I was talking to myself, I felt like I literally became Zac Efron. Like I've just had his voice in my head. I kind of do in a weird way feel like I fell in love with him and like I kind of have had to like shed that, because like that was the role of the girl in the script. So I do like looking back on it, I'm like, okay, I did kind of come off to people maybe as being obsessed with him, but I think it's because I was like in like this method writing world where I was where I was him. But then now that I've been writing this Indian rom-com, I feel like I have just like I live in India. Like I'm like in my world, like I'm like speaking Malayalam like in my head to me, even though I can't speak it, but it just feels like I don't know, it's weird. It just feels like I'm in a different time and space. And so as I'm writing, it's like I come out of it and I'm listening to Indian music, and then I come out of it and I go to like work or I go and talk to my friends or like, my neighbors, and I'm just like, oof, like, who are you guys? Like, where am I? So it feels like I just feel like I get I just really deeply go into the world while I'm writing. And I think that's what method acting probably is like.
Yeah, no, I think I might be similar. Like, I don't like writing things. I don't like writing multiple things at once either, because I think it might be a mindset thing too. Yeah. I like to just like hyper focus on one story and then finish that. I don't know how people do a bunch at once, but yeah. I'm trying to think if I am a method writer, possibly like you just become really obsessed with your story. And then it's like, you kind of spot, like, when you're like looking for a red car, it's like all you see is red cars. So it's like that kind of thing, but with my story. So I'll be like, oh, like, like the topic of my last script. Yeah. Like if I see something and then like I'm seeing, like details all around me that I can like incorporate into this one story. Right. And like my brain is just like sifting the world through the story lens, I guess.
And maybe I
Yeah.
see it more in this script in particular too, because the script is personal to me. Like the
Yeah.
idea of it came from a real experience I had when I went to India.
Mhm.
So it does feel, and it's been kind of funny. It's been very emotional for me, even though it is a rom-com, but I didn't realize how much I needed to write this script until I started writing it, because it's so much about like, it's a romantic comedy, but it's also about your identity and like understanding where you come from and learning about your culture. And so I think that's where I started to feel like it's method writing to me, because I should have literally become so much more in tune with like being an Indian woman, that I'm just like, oh, wow, like this is it's a fun part about the writing process. I think it's like, I don't know, I just feel like it's become like a much more beautiful script than I like maybe intended, but I'm just really excited to finish it and start sharing it with some people to kind of get some more feedback, especially Indian writers. I feel like I really need like an Indian man to read it, because it's definitely poking fun at Indian men a lot, but I think in a way that would be really fun to see, because I haven't really seen like a romantic comedy that has like an Indian male lead, and like he's like kind of like the butt of the joke, right? It's more about her, like she's like the lead for the movie. So
that's, I want to read it. That sounds, you pitched it really well. I want it without knowing the story. I'm like, ooh, it's very personal. That sounds good. Yeah, that sounds amazing. I love, like, I mean, the movies that I'm thinking, like, as I don't even know what your story is, but like the comps that like Bride and Prejudice, I love, and Bend It Like Beckham, of course.
Yeah, those. Yeah, I watched both of
Indian
those.
story, I love.
I watched
One
a
of my
couple
faves.
Bollywood movies, Bollywood rom-coms, which was fun. They're like, they can be a little hard to watch because it's like always in Malayalam or another language, right? So it's a lot of like subtitles, so I can only watch so many movies. And they're very long and very dramatic, and I don't know, but they're also fun. So I'm kind of trying to blend some elements of like Bollywood rom-coms and like American rom-coms.
That's so fun.
But something else I'd be curious to know if you do this too, but I think I kind of learned this through writing my Christmas rom-com, is writing for a particular actor. Like if you visualize like who you'd want to be playing the script. And it's so funny because I never thought about that. Like I feel like even when I wrote the movie about Zach, I wasn't really like writing it for him. It was more like I'm writing it for an actor who like but now I think that, because that was something I had been asked while I was writing the Christmas rom-com, is like who would play these characters, like what would make the role interesting for them, like why would an actor want to play this role. And I think learning that has actually helped me a lot with this script, because I haven't quite pictured who the female lead would be, but I realized I was picturing Dev Patel as
I was just thinking of Dev Patel
as like the male, because like I mean I definitely grew up like with him as one of my first like, you know, Indian boy crushes.
And he's really cute.
I don't think he's ever done a rom-com, like an American rom-com.
I don't think he has.
Yeah,
he should. I guess I've only seen him maybe a few films, but
but that was something I did, was like I took a moment to think like, okay, who would be in this movie? And I thought about him. I read up a little bit about like stuff he'd done, and he talks a lot about his struggle to like get like leads in movies where like he's not playing an Indian person, and like so I thought, okay, this could be an interesting role maybe for him, because it is him playing an Indian man, but it's an Indian rom-com male lead.
I want him to be in a rom-com now.
Yeah,
how old is he? Is he 30?
He's 33. He's the same.
That's perfect.
Same age,
I mean, I don't know your story, but that's perfect.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know. But then the other thing I thought about was like I was watching Mamma Mia, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I would love for Meryl Streep to play like her mom, because the mom is this very like bohemian like woman that like, I don't know, and then I just started to realize like, oh, it does kind of help to like think about an actor and like different roles they've played, and then like what would be different to that though, and that kind of helped
That's
with
so
developing the
fun.
character, I guess. But I don't know, I'd never written like that before.
I often did not as well. I think like just for a couple times I've had an actor in mind. Like I wrote a Hanukkah rom-com like during the pandemic, and I imagined like Skylar Aston, the guy from Pitch Perfect that like Becca, you've seen Pitch Perfect.
Oh yeah.
Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah,
like Becca's boyfriend, and he's like the main singer or one of the main singers. I love him. So I imagined him as like my male lead the whole entire time, and that was really fun. But often I don't have a designated person when I'm writing, but I think it might be helpful because you can kind of like figure out their personality a little more.
I think it's just helpful for the character development, and then it doesn't matter to me like if it doesn't end up being that person, but it kind of just helps you maybe like figure out some of the characteristics or things that like
I have a few people in mind for the one that I just wrote with like Karen and everything, but
how's that going? Do you have any updates?
I mean, there's nothing that to report yet really, and I have to be really vague, but last week was definitely like a high because my script was, I don't know how to say it, like it got in some really cool hands, I guess that's what we're saying on the show. And it was like a really exciting moment. Like I don't know what the outcome will be, like it's being considered, but this would be like one of my ultimate dreams with the script. So I really hope something happens. Thank you. So it's been I'm just kind of in like a waiting and see, and it, there's nothing I can do at this point, like I don't have control. But last week it was funny, like I can revise, I can write really quickly if I'm like excited, if someone wants the script who I'm excited about. Because I'd gotten notes, like I had another notes meeting with my producers, and I was like, I'll get this to you by Monday, which was like, I think I gave myself like 4 or 5 days or something, because they gave me not like super tedious long notes, but I don't know. I just wasn't in like a huge rush to get it done. And then, because I had other things too. And then they told me like, oh, this, like someone wants this. We need to send it over. Can you like edit it like right now, basically? So I like thankfully didn't have like important plans or anything. So I was just like, yes, like I'll just like I'll write a new draft right now and send it to you.
That's so scary. Good for you for like getting that done and just like.
So I think I got it done by like the next, like I got a call like in the afternoon, and then the next morning I sent them the new draft like really, really early. And but it just shows like motivation, like if there's something external that I'm excited about, I will get motivated. Versus just it's harder to force myself to feel that momentum just if I'm writing something on my own. No, not the same level of urgency. So
maybe we should.
I'll keep you guys updated. Yeah, we should. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, I feel like we should create an app that like sends fake emails to writers. That's like, hey, so and so wants to read your script. Can you turn it in by this like deadline? Or like, we want to read it on Tuesday.
And then feel the devastation when you're like, it's fake.
But it forces you to like finish it, right?
Yeah, no, it's so true. I swear I could write like a whole screenplay in like a weekend or something. If like someone were like, Reese Witherspoon wants to read it by Tuesday, I'd be like, okay.
Right, yeah. It's like cancel plans, calling out work.
I would do it. Yeah, it's a different type of like internal motivation for sure. So nothing to report with that. I mean, but it was like a really big milestone, even if I can't share it yet, and I don't know the outcome yet. But just to have my script get in those hands, like, is something I well, first of all, would never have been able to do without having producers doing this for me and submit it. It's not like I can like email anyone. Unsolicited submissions are usually like deleted for most avenues.
Yeah.
So it's not something I could just cold email. So I'm just really, really grateful to get that far. But then it's like, it's scary, and like it's scary to be like so close to something I really want, and you don't know what will happen. So, fingers crossed.
We should talk a little bit about how I feel like we're both kind of feeling a little bit lower like lately.
Yeah.
And I think maybe part of that is like we both were kind of like having some really high highs, right? Like in December, at the start of January, because it's like we finished our scripts, they've been submitted, and now we're kind of just in this like awkward waiting time, right? That
Yeah.
it's exciting, right? Like I'd rather be in the awkward waiting time, like waiting on something than like nothing.
Yeah.
But
100%.
it still feels kind of scary. And yeah, I don't know about you, but definitely my mind starts to wander in the like, oh, I haven't heard anything yet, that must be a bad sign. Or like I think having something to write right now has helped because I've just been so focused on that. But I do feel a little bit more lost lately, where I'm just kind of like,
same.
What's going to happen? What if this doesn't work out? Like what next? And
yeah,
I don't know. I'm trying to stay positive, but it can be hard, right? I guess that's the nature of this industry.
I really relate. Even a week ago when, this script got in those hands, I was like on such a high and I was so excited. And now it's only been like 7 days, but I'm like, yeah, like I've had a lot, some more like negative thoughts pop up and like, just about how I just, I so want this to be like our careers, and it's like it's still not a reality yet. Even though I think, we're closer. There. We're closer.
We're closer than where we were a year ago.
Oh my God. And like it's interesting how quickly I can go from the high to the low of like screenwriting despair. Because right now I kind of just have this one big thing, and like my own projects and things, but like like I just really wanted to work out for both of us. But yeah, and then I guess the only other screenwriting news is like I got accepted into a fellowship, which is exciting.
That's so exciting.
So I found that out, I think, since we last chatted for sure. I mean, Isabel knows, but you guys
what is it though? I don't. It's in Seattle, right? So what do you have to like
it's
do
in Seattle.
in it?
Yeah, it's through the Northwest Screenwriters Guild. And it's like an 8 or 9 month program, and I think there are 11. I'll like link in the show notes who else was accepted, but I think there are 11 other people, 10 or 11 other people who were accepted. And we just like develop our individual projects, and I think it's just to like make a little screenwriting community in Seattle and practice pitching and just developing, kind of like giving notes. I think it's like a peer feedback kind of opportunity situation. So yeah, I think it's just like a little screenwriting club. Yeah. So this is something I wanted to do for a few years, but I was like really freaked out about the pandemic and didn't feel comfortable like really meeting up in person that often. So yeah, so I'm excited. And one of the screenwriters, everyone looks really cool, but one of the screenwriters wrote 50 First Dates.
That's so cool.
Which is obviously an iconic rom-com. Yeah, I'm gonna rewatch it. I just started rewatching it because it's been quite a few years. And he also wrote a rom-com called Outsourced, which I remember liking as well. I want to say it's an Indian rom-com.
Really? It sounds familiar, actually.
I want to say all I remember is I think it's about a relationship, don't quote me, between maybe a guy in America and I want to say an Indian woman who like is a tech person. You know how like when you call for like tech help?
Right.
I want to say it's that. Can I I'm just going to Google right now.
Yeah. I know. Now I'm curious because I'm like, I hope rom-com. It's not the premise of my movie that I've been writing for the last 3 months.
Yeah, I'll read you the log line. Okay. This is maybe just a little synopsis. American call center manager Todd is shocked to learn that his company is shutting down and moving its operations to India. He is told that he will be heading the transition team and training his counterpart in Mumbai, a task he dreads. While initially baffled by Indian culture, Josh eventually begins to get along with his new coworkers, and with the help of female staffer Asha, he learns to appreciate his new surroundings.
Okay. I should watch this.
I remember it being cute, but I haven't seen it since. But anyway, so he wrote these two. I think that's a rom-com, although they don't make it sound like a rom-com.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm assuming that he falls in love with Asha.
Yeah, I think he falls in love with Asha. And I remember it being cute. So anyway, I'm excited about that. And yeah, so I'll keep you guys posted. And I think I'm gonna we're supposed to like at our first meeting like pitch 3 different ideas that we might develop.
Oh, cool.
But so I need to figure out the other 2 that I want to pitch. I think the one I probably want to write for this fellowship is one that I've mentioned before that it's now outlined, but like I'm sure I'll do a better job outlining for like this fellowship. Like I'll expand it more. This rom-com that I've mentioned before that I wanted to write. So I think it'll be good motivation to like have deadlines and be forced to do this, because I rather than just internally, it's really hard for me sometimes. So yeah, that's exciting, and I'm on the website. So yeah, check out the show notes. This is exciting that I'm able to do this, because I didn't feel like I was able to for a really long time. So yeah,
that's awesome. I'm proud of you. I feel like you have a lot going on, and you have like
thank you.
a lot coming towards you.
Thank you so much. You too. Did you start, side note, this is not related to writing, but did you start personal training?
I did. Well, I've like tried it before, but never with like, I've like always tried like different like gyms and stuff. So I have a gym that I go to where it's like small group personal training, where there's only, I don't know, sometimes there's like 10 of us, sometimes there's only 6 of us. And then I have a friend who has who started a personal training business, so I've been just like working out with him once a week.
That's cool. Yeah, it's been fun. Yeah, I just started personal training too, which is what I've always wanted to do, and I think all this stuff will seep into my writing eventually. So it's all research.
Yeah, I mean, it's also all like about like, I feel like the thing I always think about too is like the better I feel, the easier it is to write, you know?
This is true.
You know, it's like when you are, it's just like I notice night and day, like the days where I don't do my morning routine, where I don't like, you know, work out, or I don't eat well. It's like, those are all the days where I'm more negative, or like I let the, negative thoughts take over, and then I get nothing done. So, but it's interesting because I feel like mostly this past month I've been like relatively really positive, and I've been working out a lot, running a lot, eating well. I think the negative thoughts are maybe just coming from like a place of, okay, I submitted this script, like it's out there, but like I'm not hearing anything. And so there's just like that little tiny part of me that is like afraid that it's not going to work out. But I'm trying to not let that take over, because I'm like, I mean, there's still so many good things that could come of it, even if it doesn't get made, right? It's still a script that I think is a good move, is a good idea. I think it's a good script, and I think it could at least help me just open more doors, right?
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, it's too soon. Like we can't be defeated yet.
Yeah. No,
No, I relate to like we're twins all the time on this kind of stuff, like in general, but like in a lot of ways. But yeah, like I feel the same way. We're like, yeah, like you can feel so optimistic, and then when you don't hear back, and then you're like, you know, you just hear, I don't even want to put this into the universe, but you just hear people being like, oh, I wanted to be a screenwriter once, but now I have a really boring job, or, you know, and I just don't want that to happen to us. So,
I don't think so.
I don't think it will.
I don't think so. But, I mean, I feel like too, it all just depends on like what you want in life and how hard you're willing to like fight for it. And I think for me, I made such a conscious decision to like I could have just stayed in Hawaii and like had my cafe, and I would have had a really beautiful life there. And like I was fine with that life. Like that was the life I had, and I enjoyed it. But there was the voice in my head that was like, you always wanted to be a screenwriter, Isabel. So I made that conscious choice to like give that all up and come here. And I'm like, I'm so determined that like I'm not gonna give up until it happens. And I think you kind of have to have that mindset if you want something like this. That is a little bit, it's harder because it's like we don't really have much control over it. It's not like,
unless we want to make it ourselves, which I could see doing eventually, but it's not something I want to do right now. But
see, that's actually, I'm glad you said that, because that's a good point, because my mind already was like, oh, it's not in our control, we can't do anything. But that's not true. Like there's always another option.
We could make it. I've mentioned this before. I think we should be producers together eventually. It's, you know, it's not something I'm ready to take on in this month or whatever. But we could make it. They always say, like, you know, like, I don't know, what do they always say? What was I gonna say? Like, you know, that you just have to like, you have to just do it yourself and not just wait for doors to open for you, basically. But
that's true.
We also have had some doors open a little bit, so I would love to just go through the door and then make some stuff.
The door right now, and it's like, am I allowed to come into this room? Please let me in.
Yeah, okay, so that's a good update. Of course, we always like talk more than we think about
Yeah, I know,
these
right?
things. And then yeah, so we'll keep you guys updated. If there's I would love to let's just manifest like a future episode we're talking about how our scripts have both sold.
I
And
know.
we can
Yeah.
announce that. Let's just manifest that this year. And I think it could happen this year, like sooner rather than later. So fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I guess what else is going on?
Well, should we talk about the Oscars? I feel like that's
let's talk about the Oscars.
The buzz this week.
It is the buzz this week. I have not seen that many of the films.
Me either.
Which ones have you seen that have been nominated?
We should have opened a list in front of us.
Should we open it right now?
Yeah, I'm just like, wait, what else is nominated? I don't think Oscar I have seen
2024.
I think Barbie is like the only one that I have seen that got some nominations.
Okay, so for best picture.
But I think this kind of goes to something we were texting about, right? It's like all of the Oscar nominated movies are these like very like cinematic, like dramatic, like emotional movies that like, I mean, they are good movies. I'm sure some of them are good movies, but I do always think about like the movies that most people watch and that most people like are never nominated for movies.
So true.
And why is that? And what, I don't know, it makes me think about like what the Oscars stand for, but like it's like that versus like the public opinion, right?
Yeah, it's like, yeah, what's considered like fine art in our culture, and like, you know, like
which
for
I do
years,
think there's a benefit to that, right? To like, okay, this is fine art versus like, I don't know,
just I don't even like the word guilty pleasure, but yeah, more of like just a cotton candy film experience.
Yeah,
might not be nominated, but yeah, not many. Like we were texting about this, like I don't think many rom-coms at all have been nominated because they're not taken seriously, but they're also not meant to really be taken seriously, which is why I love them.
But they're also the movies. I always think like who, like some of these Oscar nominated movies, I'm like, are people really going to watch Oppenheimer like throughout the course of their life? Like when they're feeling down, when they're sad, when they're depressed, do you watch Oppenheimer to like get through that? Like,
well,
no.
I mentioned this in the previous episode.
Matthew McConaughey rom-com.
Yeah. I left the theater during Oppenheimer because I am a very sensitive person. I have a sensitive soul, and I just found it very like it just put me in fight or flight. I think there was something about the music. I just found it extremely upsetting, but it was well made from what I saw. I'm just, you know, I know you watch horror movies and stuff. I don't know. I just get very scared easily, like in a physical reaction way. Like I just get like anxiety watching those kinds of things.
I know. And
so, yeah,
I just think like our world is already so dark and like bleak right now. And like there is this part of me that keeps thinking, I actually do think that we're going to see this shift over the next few years, that like we are going to make more rom-coms. We are going to make more positive, happy movies, because like, I don't know. I always think back on like when I was younger, I used to watch like Law and Order, and like I used to watch like all the true crime TV shows. I'd listen to the true crime podcasts, but over the last 5 years, I haven't listened. I like barely listen to that kind of stuff. I don't watch that kind of stuff, but in my life has been so much more happier and positive, and I feel better. And I'm like, I don't think it's a coincidence.
There's a correlation. 100%. Our brains, like our brains don't really know the difference, I think, between like I think, what am I trying to say? Yeah, like I think when you watch like really intense things, and when I get like a fight or flight reaction, like literally, I think, because my brain thinks that's like what's really happening in front of me, you know, and I don't think that's very healthy. So
I think we're about to lose all credibility to our podcast because I haven't seen any of these Oscar nominations.
Okay, let's look at the list. Okay, Best Picture, I've seen Barbie, I've seen Past Lives. That's it.
Did you like Past Lives? I haven't seen it.
It was very well made. It was also very, very sad.
I was going to say, I guess to defend myself a little bit here, I've been going through a breakup. So that's why I've like the past year, I feel like I've been watching mostly like my comfort movies, my more effort movies that make me happy, movies that like make me like excited about life, but I feel like I would like Past Lives. I want to see that movie, but I was avoiding it because it seemed like something that would make me really sad.
It made me really sad. It honestly made me really sad. So you were correct in that assumption. It was extremely well made. I see why it's nominated. I love I love the the immigrant perspective of like seeing her come to America, and I don't want to give anything away, but I thought it was just like an interesting topic. But yeah, it was dark. Not dark. No, I don't want to say dark. It was just like sad. It was just like very like wistful and kind of slow and just very like melancholy.
Yeah. I'm looking at
Okay.
original screen. I feel like let's look at original screenplay, adapted screenplay. Because
so Barbie.
Yeah, Barbie.
And Past Lives.
I'm glad they at least put that in adapted screenplay, but I have thoughts on the script for that.
What should we say about Barbie?
I don't know. I'm afraid to say things. I also feel that speaks a lot to like the sort of like feminist culture I feel about this movie, because it's like I've had conversations with other women in my life that like they've gone mad at me for saying like what I think, and then I'm just like, so why do I feel afraid to say these things about it? Because I think if you say anything bad about Barbie, people are like, you don't support women, like you don't.
No,
and I'm like,
no. We support women.
Also
on this podcast.
There's also a lot of problems with like, I don't know. I have lots of thoughts on this, but the thing I will say is that I was excited about this movie. I went into the movie excited. I thought it was going to be a fun movie. I thought it was going to have a really cool storyline. I'm also coming from the perspective of someone who really loved the movie Life Size, and I love a good like play on a world, right? Like I love Toy Story. Like I love the idea of like toys coming to life and like
literally I mean I have a script like that about
like so that's why I was like excited about this movie, because I'm like, okay, like let's see how this is going to be. Like when I first heard about it, I had so many doubts, but then when I saw the trailer, I was like, okay, this might actually be cool. Like I'm excited to go into it. And so I felt like the beginning of it had my attention, and then it just does like such a 180 where it goes into her going. Like I thought the story was going to be that she goes to the real world and has to help the girl who's playing with her, who is like struggling with like her identity, who's like struggling to grow up, and she's just like, you know, going through like adulthood, right? Like she's in high school and she's struggling with life. So that's what I thought it was going to be. And then it turns out I was like okay with the reality that it was the mom's Barbie, right? But then I thought again it was going to be about her, Barbie, going and like helping the mom and the daughter's relationship. And then it just, you know, it just like goes so off the rails, and it loses all sense of like what are the rules to this world. And that's where I feel the writing was dropped, because I feel like they didn't spend enough time like developing like what are the rules to this world, like what's the actual story. Like it just felt like it was going in so many different ways of like, now Ken's taking over, now there's like this evil executives who like apparently know about Barbie world, but then they just like let the Barbie, you know what I mean, like the Barbie just like
made
can come
no
and
sense.
go. Like it just didn't make any sense to me. And then I just think it's funny though, because I do think that like there was a lot of backlash when they revealed that Ryan Gosling was going to be Ken, right? And I'm so happy his wife, Eva Mendes, right, like made a statement saying like everyone was so mad when he was cast as Ken. You guys were all like, you know, like not my Ken. I remember people saying that like he's not my Ken. And then he was amazing. Like he was the best part of the movie to me. Like he was so funny. I thought he was so good. I actually liked the Ken storyline, but again, it just felt like disconnected. Like it felt like it didn't make sense with then like what was going on the Barbie going to the real world thing. And then I feel like he deserves his nomination. Like I think he did a really good job, but I just don't think that the script, like, I don't know. I'm like, I just don't think the script really had a well thought out story. It all felt really disconnected. I'd love to read it, but I've heard
Are the Oscar nominated scripts out? Like I know they
usually
release them every
usually when
year.
they
Yeah,
announce
I'd be
them.
curious. I think it might already be out. Uh, I totally align with like everything you're saying about this film, and I've also been scared to like.
I've been like so afraid to say these things.
I know,
because
I
I'm
think
just
I tweeted
like
about it once, and then I like deleted it.
Yeah. Well, I was talking to a friend about it once, and she got so mad at me and just like kind of like shut me down immediately. And I was just like, okay, fine. I guess I'm not allowed to express my opinion.
No, you can totally.
As a woman,
and I want to say, right.
But like, God forbid I say anything bad.
Yeah. Like I love Greta Gerwig, and I think that was my hesitation as well. Like I don't want to I don't want to badmouth her project or her. Like I think she's so incredible, and I like Little Women. I love Lady Bird. Like I really love her other projects. I recently rewatched that. It's great. Barbie was such a miss. I've seen it twice, surprisingly, because I think I saw it with a friend, and then my mom wanted to see it, so I was like, okay, I'll see it again, but it kind of reluctantly. It wasn't good. I had such high hopes for it. The story was a mess. The aesthetics were amazing. Like that, like the production design was
That's
awesome.
What I'm surprised. I'm surprised that the production team didn't get nominated.
They didn't get nominated.
Right? The visual effects.
I guess so. Yeah. Let's
costume design did.
Oh, okay.
Costume design.
I thought the costumes were good. Although I kind of feel like they could have done even more. I don't know, like more careers, more. I don't know. Maybe I'm being here.
I thought it looked really good. I will say that. So that's why I am a little bit like, okay, I do think she deserves to be nominated for Best Director, because that is like, I do think it looks very beautiful. I do think like she did a lot of cool stuff with it, and like when you look at the movie as a whole to like come together, like I'm a little surprised by that. But again, I haven't seen the other movies, so I can't really speak to like maybe like same. Those other movies are much better, and so I can kind of see that. So I'm not like outraged by it. There is a part of me that's like, okay, she did do like it good looks job. Really cool, right? And like it was a big really good film to take on. But the thing I keep thinking about too is like people keep being like, this was like, everyone was talking about this movie, like how is it not getting nominated, blah blah. And I just want to be like, yeah, it's called marketing. Like they had like $1 million in marketing. Like, and just because something is marketed really well doesn't mean it's good. A really good movie. It just means that they had a lot of money.
It had potential to be great if the story were totally different. Like I totally agree with you. I remember ranting to my mom about this after I saw it for the second time, that if the story had been about Barbie repairing America Ferrera's relationship with her daughter and focusing on the human storyline, that would have been moving and fun and even more opportunity for comedy in the in the real world. Yeah. But it wasn't, it would just, like, it just became like, it just was so,
I would love for somebody, like, if people think we're wrong, please like walk me through what you think the actual plot is. We're gonna infuriate some people. I know, but we're gonna make them really mad. I feel like we should be able to freely say this without the fear of like 100%. Repercussion, because it's just like, isn't that's like, we're also free women, speech. Yeah, no, 100%. Be able to say what we feel. This whole podcast is about celebrating women in film, but. Yeah, no, I could. But we also respect that women have other opinions, and that's 100%. And I just hated. We can move on from how much I hated the storyline, but I just hated like the whole like patriarchy, matriarchy. Like it just didn't. It just felt like they were like trying to like, I don't know, like stuff down feminists, like just like I'm not even using correct English because I'm really upset in the storyline, but like it just felt like I didn't want to keep hearing the word patriarchy. It was like showing, it was like telling and not showing. Yeah. But the whole story didn't work for me, and like I didn't find the evil like Will Ferrell funny really, but I'm not a huge Will Ferrell fan. It just. I don't know. Maybe we can have a whole other episode. Yeah, I know. Read the script. Well, we should read the script and then talk about it. Yeah, maybe we should talk about it. But I barely laughed. I cried at the end a little because I thought the end scene was quite moving, but not enough for me. But I don't understand why Why does she go back to the real world at the end? after she's
it makes
just like
no sense.
done all of this to go back and save the Barbie world. But I just go back to Life Size, and I feel like Life Size does such a good job.
Deserves an Oscar.
Everyone just needs to watch Life Size and then come talk to me and tell me what you think about the two movies. Also, shout out to Tyra Banks, who was an amazing Barbie. I forget, what is it called? It's not Barbie. Something dolls. Eve doll. She's the Eve doll.
Eve doll. Yes. It's hilarious. I love that film. I would still probably love it. I need to rewatch it. Lindsay Lohan is incredible in it. I don't remember who plays the dad, but I just remember being quite moved, and it was like about her
That's what I mean.
coming to terms with like her mom passing away.
And she comes in touch with her feminine side, because she's kind of like a tomboyish girl who's like, you know, and it amends her relationship with her dad, because again, the doll comes to life and like kind of helps her. And so like, that's where I'm like, I would have loved to seen the Barbie movie focus more on like what dolls like mean to little girls, you know, and like how it teaches them. You know what I mean? I just like feel like that's what was all missed. It's like, instead of focusing on like, okay, this is what little girls learn from dolls, and like this is what was like good about Barbie dolls, and like how they did show the different careers, and like you could play with them, and you know, instead it just made it be like a something like I get what the movie's about. I'm like, I feel like some people are like, you didn't understand the movie. Yeah. I know it's not that. Yeah. It's just like, I look back on it and I think like, for me as a child that saw Life Size, like I grew a lot from that movie. Like I watched that movie. Like I love that movie. It's like still to this day. That does more for 100%. Me as like a woman growing up in the world than
I'm with you.
Than the Barbie movie.
I know. And we should wrap this rant up and we can talk about it later, I guess, too. But yeah, like I feel the same way. It was weird that the film also, it didn't show children in it. Like the whole purpose of like toys, and like, I get they were showing that, you know, she's an adult, but she had a relationship with this, you know, with Barbies, but like, it didn't show like the magic of like play and like just having dolls. It didn't show like the magic and the fun. And it was just like, oh, Barbies are horrible for society. Like, that's like what the teenage girl said, right? And I was like, yeah, like it does. Like, you know, there are problematic things with like Barbie's body, maybe, you know, just like how that doesn't translate to like a real person's proportions and things like that. But I don't know. Barbie was so magical for me as a kid, and I didn't feel the magic at all. Except like the aesthetics, I felt some of the magic at the beginning. But anyway, we can talk about it in the future. But we're on the same page. Let's read
the script. I feel like we should read like all of the Oscar nominated scripts. I mean, not all of them, but like
maybe a few.
Maybe the
like
woman,
the more romancy one. Yeah, let's do that. That'd be a good one.
And then we'll talk. I agree. And then we'll talk about that.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else?
If people still want to listen to us.
The only other thing. we're losing all our followers by being like, Barbie sucks.
we didn't say Barbie sucks.
No, we didn't say it. No, we're just arguing a different opinion.
It doesn't have a good story.
Yeah, and the story is the most essential part of the film.
I mean, that's what we do as writers, right? We tell stories.
The only other thing that comes to mind to share, I guess, is like really good. Like I have started educating my boyfriend in like rom-coms, because like he's made me watch a lot of stuff lately that isn't my cup of tea as much. So I'm like, so we watched How to Lose a Guy in 10 days. Like that was his first like intro. I don't know if he's probably seen a few rom-coms before, but that's what we started with. And we're gonna, I think, watch Sleepless in Seattle soon, because
he's never seen Sleepless in Seattle.
He's never seen it, and he's never seen 10 Things I Hate About You, which I feel like as a Seattleite, like we have to. Every Seattleite of the world should see Sleepless or 10 Things.
If I met a guy and he was like, I've never seen 10 Things I Hate About You, I'd be like,
I think most men. We'll do a poll. I doubt a lot of men have seen these films. But yeah, so we're going on like a rom-com pilgrimage.
So I was just gonna say that now I feel excited to read some scripts and talk about them.
Yeah.
When are the Oscars? Is it coming up soon?
Is it in March? We're like horrible cinephiles right now. When are the Oscars? March 10th. Okay. Because it's definitely, you know, it's of course still a huge dream of mine to be able to go to the Oscars, nominated, win even. Oh, we didn't talk about My Big Fat Greek Wedding. Like, I think that was one of the only rom-com scripts.
But it didn't win.
Did it win?
I don't think so.
We're not good researchers right now,
I mean, this is all like a lot of knowledge to have. This makes me feel like I'm in a history class where they're like, in 1982 there was this war going on and this battle.
But anyway, My Big Fat Greek Wedding, one of my favorite rom-coms of all time. I know that was nominated at least and got a lot of Oscar attention, and I deservingly so, because I think it's timeless. It's incredibly clever. But yeah, it's very unusual to have a rom-com nominated for anything. For the Oscars, right? Like, what was the other? There was It Happened One Night. You said in the 30s.
Yeah, that was like
nominated.
1934, something like that. It Happened One Night.
Test. What year?
With Clark Gable. I was like, oh, this sounds cute. So I want to watch that. So maybe we should do an episode around the time of the Oscars. Maybe after like it happens, and then we'll have read the scripts and we can discuss.
And we can talk about fashion too. Like, I love seeing what everyone dresses, what they wear. Like, that's like my dream, to attend and have like a custom gown and everything. And we can get dressed up for this episode.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, should we? I don't know if I have any.
Yeah. I'm gonna wear a gown. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, when I was a kid growing up, I had a prom dress that I really loved, and like, it's like you only wear that dress once, right, to prom, but I still had it in my closet at home, and I always thought like, oh, if I ever got nominated for an Oscar, I would wear that dress.
You'd wear it again?
Well, I don't think it would
still
fit me now.
That's so funny.
I maybe.
Yeah, you could, or like use an element from it or something.
Yeah.
But I love like award show fashion so much, and I've been watching a lot of Say Yes to the Dress lately. I think it's because I'm gonna end up writing something like wedding rom-com related. Like, I feel like that is coming up. I just feel like in my mind, like, I really want to write a wedding rom-com, because that's like one of my favorite.
Do you have
subgenres.
Anything else that you're writing right now? Or it sounds like you're working on ideas for your fellowship.
I'm working on my ideas for my fellowship. I wrote a play this week. It's not done, but I wrote like I think it's only like 7 pages, but there's like this local competition where I live for like 10-minute plays. So I'm going to write, you can submit up to 3. So I want to submit 3 plays. So that's kind of my little mini goal coming up. So I wrote a play this week, but they're like a little like one scene, like a one act. Other than that, yeah, I think I'm waiting to like actually begin writing a screenplay, like probably through my fellowship, or if I could start developing something with higher up people. Please. Yeah. I really want to do that. Please, let's manifest it.
I believe in it.
Yeah. Thank you. I'd just be so much more motivated. I just feel like I have so many samples now, and it's so important to just keep writing no matter what. But I just feel like I'm ready to like just keep developing like projects with people. That would be what I would love this year. So we have to keep positive, right? Me like
just
crying.
Keep writing. Yeah, I'm definitely just gonna focus on. I'm really, really hoping that I'm gonna finish my script today. If I do, I'll send it to you.
What page are you on?
I'm on 78, but I have it at like 100. It's just that I've been like moving scenes around, so it's at 90 pages. It just needs to be like edited right to like be like I want it to be, maybe I think it'll end up being around like 100 pages. But it's like all there. It's just that I have to like, I've been reading through it and editing and kind of just I feel like I wanted to add her mom in more, so I'm kind of going back through and just like adding a little bit more with the mom. So I think I can have it done today, like tomorrow at the latest, but my goal is today. Yeah. And then I want to have some people read it, edit it a little bit before I like send it to like real people.
Yeah, I would love to read it. And then we've mentioned this before, but like I would love to also start chatting again about like writing something together. I'm not sure if I'm still obsessed with our idea, but we can like keep developing. I want to be like obsessed. Yeah. And I don't know if I feel that yet.
Yeah, because after I finish this one, I want to finish my time loop movie, because that one I'm actually almost done with. I think it's at 50 pages, but I couldn't focus on that and the Indian rom-com. So I was like, okay, I'm going to finish Indian rom-com first. Yeah. Then I'm going to go finish my comedy. So maybe once I finish that, then I don't
like
have
in a couple
anything else
months or
that I'm like
something.
working
That'd
on.
be really fun to start thinking about it. Like I almost feel like we should write a holiday one together. Like I don't like I've just been thinking I don't have a specific idea necessarily.
Holiday movie
like
set in Seattle.
Sit in
Where they
Seattle,
go
or
to
like an
ports.
international, like an Italian like a wanderlust holiday rom-com.
Christmas,
maybe with a
Italy.
wedding, because that's like on my mind. I'm watching a lot of Say Yes to the Dress, because I just love gowns. I just love fashion, I guess. I do love fashion. I feel like it doesn't, like, on a daily basis, I'm not like, I don't really care that much about what I wear, but I love like fancy attire and dreaming about that. So anyway, I think we should wrap this up.
I think we should.
But it was fun to chat with you, Isabel.
Always fun to catch up with you.
Yeah, we just like film our catch-ups.
Yeah, really. I know.
And hopefully someone listens. Screaming into the void.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then we're filming, like, we have some guest episodes coming up, as we said, and yeah, thanks for listening, everyone.
Yeah, and stay positive. I'm gonna.
Yes.
I actually
manifest.
What I love about this is I always leave our podcast episodes feeling more motivated and positive about everything.
Same.
So I do feel like I'm like, all right, I got this.
Yes.
We're going to be fine.
It's like a support group. We're in like a screenwriting support group.
I hope people feel that when they listen to this, that
I
it feels
so too.
supportive, even though we maybe just bashed their favorite movie of 2023.
Yeah. But remember, you're allowed to love what you love, and you should be loud about what you love. But you don't have to love something.
It's okay to not like something.
Everyone,
I think
it's okay.
Yeah, like I'm very supportive of, like, it's okay to have a different opinion, especially than like what the masses are saying. Like, it's okay 100%. To not like something. It doesn't make you less of a woman. It doesn't make you less of a feminist. Like
100%.
You're allowed to dislike something that other women like.
Of course. Okay. Bye, everyone.
This has been an episode of When Isabel Met Aviva. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to stay up to date with our episodes, please subscribe. Bonus points if you leave us a positive review. You can follow us on Instagram at When Isabel Met Aviva, and on TikTok at When Isabel Met Aviva, and on Twitter at Isabel Met Aviva. We're both on Instagram. I'm actually not on Twitter anymore. I feel like I only use Instagram these days.
Controversial. Yeah.
But if you have any questions or need any advice about your screenwriting career, or if you just want to obsess over rom-coms with us, feel free to follow us. I'm just at Isabel_K_T on Instagram. That'll be in the show notes. Aviva, you're just at Aviva Pelton, right?
Yeah, I'm just my name, Aviva Pelton, Peltin.
Awesome. So yeah, don't forget to, I would say, watch all of the Oscar movies right now. Oscar movies, read the scripts so we can all kind of discuss those, and see as many rom-coms as you can.
Yeah, 100%. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.